Are you feeling like a zombie lately? Tired of the same old energy drinks promising the world but delivering the jitters and a crash? Look no further than Sneak Energy, your secret weapon for all your energy needs. With all natural ingredients, Sneak will give you all the energy you need to boost through your day without feeling like a lab rat on caffeine. Don't believe us? Try it yourself and see what a difference it can make to your routine. So what are you waiting for? Hit the link in the description and pick up your Sneak Starter Pack today. Now enjoy the clip. Clock show tonight. Make sure you tune in for it. We always love the 8 o'clock show on a Friday night anyway, but lots to get into throughout the day. We will get updates throughout the day. Manchester United, 10 o'clock tonight is the deadline for the third bids. There's not a lot of detail out there in relation to some big shock. I can tell you this is coming in from the Telegraph around the sale. They're saying that insiders maintain that the Qataris remain the most likely bid to be successful should a full sale be ratified. If the Glazers do give the green light to Sheikh Alfani's offer for 100% control, multiple Whitehall sources insist the only remaining hurdle will be the Premier League strengthened directors and owners test. However, the Qatari-led group are very confident and have been bolstered by fresh assurances that the government will not block its takeover of Old Trafford. So that's all coming in from the Telegraph this morning. That's all very, very positive. I would just cut it down to this at the moment. There's a very simple scenario around Manchester United now, and I think every fan just sort of needs to make their mind up, because ultimately this is the situation. There is one group who will buy the whole club. I've not seen this really analysed in the way it needs to be in the last 48 hours, because I think there's a lot of political games going on. I think there's a lot of, I don't want to keep talking about birds, but there's a lot of birds feathering their nest here. They've been very, very vocal over the last couple of months, chirpy, chirpy, cheep, cheep, gobbing off about this, that and the other. And the last 48 hours has been quite telling about who's willing to put their neck on the line and speak up. And obviously we do as fans, the protests. I think in general United fans are very vocal about what they want. I don't think the media, I don't think some journalists, and I don't think some ex-players have been that vocal at all. I think they've gone quiet. And I think speaking to people, the reason people are going quiet is 100% what I said a couple of days ago. They're feathering their own nest. They're now realising if they write an article or if they say something public now, they might be doing themselves out of something in the future. Who's to say that the Glazers and Sir Jim haven't offered an ex-player a place on the board? Who's to say Alfani hasn't offered an ex-player a place on the board? So, I think it's all getting a bit political now. And for those journalists that have been very vocal, who's to say that they're now realising that Alfani's going to own the club and they might get booted out of a press conference? Or who's to say that actually Sir Jim has said, we've got a good relationship, we'll continue that when I'm the owner? I just think people are feathering their nest now. I think the morals are going out the window. Ultimately, all I've ever heard from most journalists, most fans and most ex-players is we want the Glazers out completely. And now I'm not getting that. And I'm wondering why. Because ultimately, I think we're starting to move into the area where people are feathering their own nest and thinking, well, I've got a good relationship with Sir Jim. If he gets in the club, I'm going to have a good relationship. All right, the Glazers might stay, but I've got to look after myself. And I think this is what happens when push comes to shove. Selfish people start to look after their own selfish interests. Whereas, personally, and I'm sure most of you are the same, and if not all, it makes no difference to me personally if Alfani owns the club or Sir Jim owns the club or the Glazers own the club. It doesn't make any difference. But what does make a difference is for me as a fan, I don't want us to carry on like the last 17, 18 years. I don't want anything like that to continue. I want a new start. And that new start might not be great, but it's got to be better than what we've had. And the only person representing a new start now is Alfani. Aravind, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much. Paul Crampton's just gifted 5 memberships. What a legend to him. And shout out to all the guys I met down in Dublin. Gutted I can't get for the next one, but hope we can possibly catch up when Mark goes to Belfast, says Graham, the chef. Just a quick reminder. I was going to normal stuff that we did last time as well. It's going to be a great night. Get your tickets. Links in the live chat. Today's the day to get him. Get involved. But look, back on what's most important, and that is the sale. I just want to lay this out now as we go through the news on this morning. there's a very, very simple scenario now that I'm a little bit disappointed that nobody... It's literally D-Day, says DJ United, and he's right. There's a very, very simple scenario now that's just not being put out there for some reason, and I don't know. So we're going to put it out. This is the situation today for Manchester United and its future. If you want a full sale, there is only one option. It is Alfani and Qatar. If you want the Glazers to stay, that's basically every option. Sir Jim, Elliott Group, Carlisle Group, Glazers were lying all along and are going to stay. There is literally one option to remove the Glazers and have a full sale, and that is Alfani. Everybody else is not offering that. We thought Sir Jim was offering that. He's not offering that. So I don't know why this is not being spelt out, because ultimately there is just that. Full sale equals Qatar and Alfani. Part sale equals everybody else. What do you want? What do you want? It's as simple as that. Elongated pause. But it's true. It's true. There is only one offer for a full sale. We've gone past the morals now. We've gone past whether we're comfortable with having an ownership model like Newcastle and Manchester City. It literally is the only offer on the table. So I think there's a personal decision for everybody to make. Do you really not want Qatar and you just want to stay with the Glazers because you think that's better? Or do you want a new fresh start and a full sale? It's that choice. And Simon Jordan can sit there on TalkSport and say, I don't know what Man United's fans' problems are, and also it's not up to them anyway. Well done. We know it's not up to us. It's not been up to us for the last 18 years. But we can express an opinion, and I think, you know, you've got Sir Jim Radcliffe, who I do not understand what he's done, why he's done it, and what he thinks he's doing. I want to analyse that a little bit more. I think we've done it over the last 2 days, but there has been no denial in the press over the last few months that he was going to borrow money to get the club. There has been no denial that he's not going to clear the debt if he gets the club. And now there is no denial that he's trying to do a deal with the Glazers to keep them in to get hold of the club himself. And I just think, well, I'm very glad that... And I want to just shout out all the journalists that have reported on this. You know, I've spoken to a couple privately, but the vast majority have put it out there publicly anyway. It's been brilliant reporting. And we have been informed on a process that I didn't necessarily think that we would get as much detail. I didn't know that when this started that we'd find out that, you know, people were going to keep the debt or borrow money or, you know, do a deal with the Glazers. And I think having this information has really empowered us. Any news on Garnacho for Villa, says Dylan? Well, I'm not talking about Villa at the moment, Dylan, but we might do a little bit later. Morning, Mark. Great way to start my Friday, listening to United Stand, driving to work at 2 a.m, says Dimar. Drive safely, pal. Simon Jordan is the world's biggest tosspot, says Jack. And for the past 10, all of the fans were Glazers out and no one cared who the new owner is. But now some fans are okay with the Glazers staying because they want Sir Jim. Make that make sense, says Rashid. I haven't really seen it. You know, if there's people in the chat who want to express it, we'll respect it and we'll understand it and we can digest it. But I've not really seen anybody saying that they want Sir Jim now. We need a fresh start and only Qatar can provide us a clean slate. Sir Jim would be a disaster, says Karan. So, I just want to make this very, very clear because there's lots to get into. And I think the Garnacho story is interesting. The Rojo story is interesting. But it is D-Day on the sale. And I think we need to just hammer this down. I want to get this across because this is not opinion. This is just basic reporting. The only person offering to buy the club outright is Alfani. Everybody else is doing a deal with the Glazers to keep them in power. And that's it. So Alfani's bid is very, very simple. I want to buy the club. I want to rebuild the stadium. I want to invest in Manchester and around the club, the infrastructure, the training facilities, and I want to invest in the manager and buy the best players we can. Very simple, but very, very much what fans want. Super wealth, of course.